What's up, geeks and gamers? My name is Draymond, and welcome to Thorium Gaming. We're back with episode 9? 9? I think we're on 9. Of Research of Fallout, our adventures through the post-apocalyptic Boston wasteland. So last time, we went through the memory den and being inside someone else's head, and it was creepy and trippy and literally an out-of-body experience. It was great! And now we are faced with a choice. The glowing sea is where we have to head next, and Virgil, who's apparently in the glowing sea, is the guy that can lead us on to finding out where the Institute is, and thus finding Sean. That said, we're not really prepared for this quite yet. While I'm chatting here, I'm going to make sure that I'm back in our proper gear, because I tend to forget that. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to do a few quests for the Minutemen. And we're going to try and build up our stockpile of Minutemen outposts, attempting to get a little bit more coverage. Now, I did promise a bonus video last week, and unfortunately I just did not have time to get around to making that video. So apologies in advance, guys. I'm so sorry for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Starlight Drive-In, and we're going to try and set up a recruitment beacon there, complete that quest, and we're going to do a few for Preston Garvey, eventually leading up to us taking back a very particular settlement on the map. For those of you who have been following the entire series, we are going to try and set up as many of the outposts as we can, get some wide range coverage, and get the thing that's unique to the Minutemen playthrough, that being the artillery beacons and the flare gun. The artillery smoke grenades, of course, are great when we are in a oh crap, I'm about to die situation. And the flare gun, based on how many settlements we have, allows us to call in Minutemen reinforcements. They're not exactly heavily armed, but they're helpful when we're outnumbered. So the Starlight Drive-In is going to be our next location, but first, there was a nice little secret thing that we have to deal with. So we are still in Good Neighbor, and of course Good Neighbor being run by the creepy guy that stabbed people on the way in, Hancock. Gotta love it. But I did mention that there was something special about this place, and we got that tip about the Hotel Rexford. So we're going to go inside the hotel now, and we're going to find something out that's interesting. We did skip over the initial start of the game, and it was just incredibly hard to record and keep track of. But here is one of the big things that anyone who is doing a settlement build or a settlement playthrough needs to be aware of. If you go up to the second floor here, we're going to be reunited with someone from the very, very start of the game here. Yes, the Vault-Tec rep, after 200 years, is still alive. He got ghoulified. He's the guy that helps us initially set up our character, our special stats, our name, and is that really nice guy who got turned away at the gates because while he's Vault-Tec, he was not on the list.
Yeah, I'm from Sanctuary.
What? You don't remember me? I sold you that space in the vault. But then I wasn't on the list to get in. But you, look at you. 200 years, and you're still perfect. How's that possible?
Well, they didn't tell you everything that was going to happen there, friend. They made us into a survivor sickle.
The vault had these pods that froze us in place. I only thawed out recently.
What? Vault-Tec never told me that. Unbelievable. Well, I had to get to the future the hard way. Living through the filth, the decay, and the bloodshed. Look at me. I'm a ghoul. A freak.
No, you're not, man. You're alright.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know this would happen.
You know, you're the only other person I met from before.
Now, we did swap out of our charisma gear, so I'm hoping our charisma's high enough to convince him to come along. There's a special reason for that.
No Commonwealth.
This is one of the level 4 merchants in the game. You set up a level 3 kiosk, and he, for a general store, is a great vendor. He sells a better selection of stuff. He's a really cool vendor to have around. He's one of the level 4s, and it's great to pick him up. This is the only person you are guaranteed to find.
I'll come visit. I promise.
Really?
And we did have high enough charisma, so he's going to go up to Sanctuary.
Head over there right now. You promise you'll come visit, right? I'll see you there.
Alright, so we'll see you in Sanctuary. The other vendors you will meet as random encounter events. There's a weapons vendor who is also one of the guaranteed ones. I shouldn't say he's the only one. The weapons vendor we get from following the Minutemen quest line. There's an armor vendor, there's another general vendor, and a clothing vendor, all of which that you can pick up, put on level 3 kiosks, and they become incredibly powerful. There are a couple of quests here that we could do, but that's not our focus for today. We're going to go and do a little bit of, quote, settlement building, end quote. And by settlement building, we're going to do the bare minimum needed to take care of things. And that is a synth. So now that we're back out here, we're going to travel up towards Starlight Drive-In. Now we do need some rubber, some concrete, some crystal, and a few other things. So let's head to Sanctuary first, and we're going to pick up what we need to build both a power generator and a recruitment beacon. Of course, my chair is still squeaking. Alright, so let's go in and see what exactly we need. So, for power, we're just going to build one of the small ones. It's not really going to tell us what we need right now, but we can build one here, so that's good. What we're going to do... Yes, we have access to the... My train of thought has kind of gone away from me there. We have access to the workshop at the Starlight Drive-In. Since we're going to be building there, Codsworth, we cannot assign as a supply line, which is weird. We should be able to. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the workshop and we're going to transfer a few bits of junk over to us. What do we have on us for junk right now? A fair bit of stuff, but not entirely enough. So what I know offhand is that we need some crystal, some rubber, and some concrete, as well as a fair amount of steel. But we can get steel when we get there. That's not a big deal. So we're going to go through, and you see in the center there, right in this general area, it tells us what each individual piece of scrap we picked up is going to give us. So we're going to take a couple of cameras with us. They're going to give us the crystal we need. We're going to take a little bit of concrete. We shouldn't need too much. So we're going to take... Let's take 30. Shouldn't weigh us down too much. Not sure if we're going to need plastic or not, but we're going to grab a couple of light things for plastic. We'll take some of these enhanced targeting cards just in case we need circuitry as well. And a couple of extinguishers. So now we are slightly overweight here, but our faithful companion Piper, who is currently right here, we're going to give all of our junk over to her and take it back when we get there. Alright, we are now light enough to work our way down there. So one big thing for those of you who are planning on building settlements and everything, the Starlight Drive-In especially, or the Mechanist's Lair, if you have the Automatron DLC, are good places to set up a star pattern supply of depot. Now what I mean by that, we don't have any supply lines at the moment. However, over the course of this, you can share the junk inventory between your different workshops. By setting up these supply lines, you send one individual to be a supply line between them, and it helps out. Now, we're going to be doing the Mechanist Lair, Far Harbor, and the Nuka World DLCs as extensions to this play after we've completed the main storyline. So we're not going to have access to it right now. So, instead, the Starlight Drive-In is going to become our hub. This means that all of our people there are going to be dedicated to branching out to every other settlement that we do. It's a great way to do it. It makes one individual place incredibly valuable for you. You will see your provisioners as they travel between the different areas on the map, and it's a good idea to arm and equip them so that they can survive on their own. I prefer using the Mechanist Lair, but this is again if you have the Automatron DLC. There are two reasons for this. The first off is you can build robots there when you have this particular downloadable content. You can equip them by giving them good armor, good weapons that are built right into the unit itself. And then you can rename them and send them off so that you can have, say, a guy named Ten Pines as the provisioner for Ten Pines Bluff. The reason I like doing it that way, robots actually hinder the happiness growth in your settlements. They are capped at 50, and it's averaged out. There's a big mathematical equation to figure out happiness, but robots lower the overall happiness of a settlement. So if you can put them all in one place and then use them like that, you're far better off than trying to do it with other means. So what we're going to do, we're going to head to the Starlight Drive-In, and we are going to set up a power generator and a recruitment beacon. We are level 14, and the Automatron DLC does start at 15. You'll get a broadcast that sends you to help an ambush convoy. But again, we are doing that on a later playthrough. Now, Starlight Drive-In is one of my favorite places to build settlements. You have a ton of room, an absolute ton, and you can build up off of the main Starlight Drive-In itself. So, we're going to scrap a few things, get ourselves a little bit of gear. I'm going to kill that radio so we don't get hit by any copyright strikes, of course. So, you can build up pretty easily here. I know it's a little boring, a little bit out there, but I assure you it is worth it in the long run, especially if you're playing a Minutemen playthrough, double especially if you are playing a survival playthrough. Now the reason why I say that a survival playthrough, it is a great thing to have many settlements, you can't save whenever you want. You just can't. You need to sleep in a bed. Well, Starlight is pretty central. Doesn't hurt that it's central. And every settlement you get will give you another place that you can build up, store ammunition, weapons, supplies, pretty much anything that you could think of on a survival playthrough. It's a good idea to build a settlement in every area. Starlight is really good for this because, let's face it, look at this. And right in the dead center, you have this big pond. Of course, you have to clear it out. It's got all these radioactive barrels in it, and you're going to be taking some rads while you do it. I don't really want this to turn into a full-on survival or settlement building video, but it doesn't hurt to know this when you're going into it. So we're still taking a lot of rads from that right now, but that will be solved here in a minute. It takes a second for it to realize that those barrels are gone. And of course the mole rats that we killed when they were first here. So when you're building your settlements all across the wasteland, if you're on survival, you need to build them all up to be self-sustaining and independent. They will share food and water supplies between them. Thing is there's a cap on the amount of food and water that each workshop can store in it from your production, and that sort of stuff. Right now, our focus is getting the quest completed so that we can move on and get some other Minutemen settlements. I'm going to do a few of those quests for this Let's Play episode, show you guys what it's like, and then I will do a more in-depth study on the whole topic later on. Now, Piper, I am hitting the wrong button, of course, because I'm awesome that way. We're going to take all that junk back off of you. And we've added a fair bit of steel and other stuff in, but we're just going to dump all of that right into the workbench. So what are we going to do? Well, I like using this central building for setting up at the Starlight Drive-In. A couple of reasons for this. One, it's nice, big, and open. It's great to set up turrets and other things along the top here. You can build off of this fairly easily. And in fact, on my survival playthrough, this entire area is turned into one giant structure. And this patch of dirt right here, if you build up a few concrete walls where that fence is, set up a guard post right there, it's very easy to defend your crops from raiders and hostiles. One of the spawn points is down there. So what we need is a power generator. We're just going to build one of the little guys because we're not going too in-depth on it right now. Build a power generator. Then we're going to go over to our miscellaneous, and we're going to build a recruitment beacon. We're going to set it up so that the ladder is facing towards where people are going to be. Now, when you're doing this, you just hit space, and it will start connecting wires. I do not know what the control will be on consoles, but essentially that's what it does. So we've now created a recruitment beacon and completed Mr. Garvey's task for us here. People will start to show up. If we look over at the top of the bar here, we have 3 power, no food, no water, no defense, and only 1 bed. This is going to be bad for anyone that we try to have here. And while we don't want it to grow too exponentially off the bat, we do want to have at least a little bit of food to support 1 person or 2 people when they come. So I'm going to start off with a mute fruit plant. And of course, you build these with things that you have in your inventory. And we only have 1 Tato, so it's not really worth it. Mute fruits give you a full unit of food, whereas Tatoes, corn, razor grain, and all those sort of things, they only give you 1/2. Each settler can harvest up to 6 of a particular food resource. So that doesn't mean 6 plants, it means 6 food total. So in the case of the mute fruits and all that, you're getting 1 for 1 on the mute fruits, and everything else gives you 1/2, so they can actually farm up to 12. Now I know there are a fair number of people out there who try to avoid certain things in this, and there are others who get obsessive with other things. Oxhorn puts out great settlement building videos. I don't know if I'm going to link to him or not, but I am giving him a minor shout out. Because, well, I love his settlement videos. He uses a ton of mods, whereas I'm going completely mod-free. So let's see if we have enough to build at least 1 turret to watch over our precious little mute fruit plant. And this is what I mean. You just set it up here. It has a great line of sight, and gives us 5 defense with no power required for it. We do have 1 bed. I usually find that it's good to have a second one lying around. On survival difficulty, you don't want just mattresses and sleeping bags. You want a good, clean bed to set up, because you can only sleep for a certain amount of time on the weaker ones. But to make everything easy for us, we're going to set up a second bed here so we can have 2 people in the future, and we will come back and build this settlement up at a later time. So we've done that. We're going to head back up, and we're going to talk to Preston Garvey and try to advance his quest a little bit. Dear Preston, where are you? I shouldn't sing, I'm terrible at it. But I'm having fun, so you know what? I'm going to do it now and then. Alright, Preston, let me talk to you.
What now?
I'll mark it on your map. We'll find out.
Alright, so we've completed Taking Point, Starlight Drive-In, and he's going to give us another quest to go and help someone else out. Let's go into our data here. Green Top Nursery. Now we have not been there before, and it is way off in the distance. We're probably going to go to 10 Pines and then head to Green Top. Before we do, however, let's make sure we are set up to go out there. I'm going to go in and make sure all of our rads are gone by using a rad away. I'll drink a little bit of water. I believe I can show you right now. I don't know if this settlement produces a lot. But if you go into your workshop, you will find that over time, in the aid section, things like your carrots, your corn, potatoes, everything, they will appear in here, depending on what you have your individual settlement doing. There's purified water in here. I didn't put that there. That was at my settlers. So I'm just going to pick it up, because it's a healing item for us right now. It's vital on survival, because we do have a pair of water pumps. Now, if you go to the water pump and sit there and drink a little bit, it will restore your health. It's vital on survival to do it. and it is less vital, but it's a good way to fully heal yourself on normal. So we're going to travel to Ten Pines, and then we're going to head to the southeast. The reason I'm leaving off the big things inside of the settlement building is there are a lot of different skills, no, perks, I should say, that are required to build effective settlements. Local leader, medic, the cap dealer one, and I'm apparently stuck. There we go. These are all big things that are required to effectively build a settlement. And for anyone in the know, if you just come down here off of Ten Pines Bluff, you will find a rail car that has a terminal in it. That terminal unlocks this cage with a suit of power armor in it. The power armor is generated the first time you load the cell, so depending on what level you go to it at, that is what will be in that cage. I believe it's like 1 to 15 you get T45 or T51, 20 plus you get T60, and 30 plus I want to say you get XO1 armor in the cells as you load them up. There are certain places that are guaranteed to drop specific suits of power armor, and there's one on the southeast corner of Boston. But I can cover those at a later time. And I have to remember all of my hotkeys. That's a shotgun, combat rifle, of course. And there's our rifle. I want to have that out. Bunch of places that could potentially hurt us. That lake down there is bad for Mirelurks, and if you head up this road, you get up to Outpost Zamonja. But again, we're not going to be doing that right now. This is the General Atomics Galleria, and again, there is something that you can do there, but there's a specific piece of equipment that I want to have before I go into the Galleria. Because dealing with robots the normal way is a pain in the butt. So for this Wednesday, I might try to do the settlement build. I know I've been saying, yeah, I'm going to get to it, it's going to be a bonus, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't get to it. I've been trying to set up one of my other playthroughs, happens to be a Minutemen playthrough as well, to do the settlement video for you guys. It's just time has not been on my side in the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of big family events and that sort of stuff, so I am so sorry for that for people who are looking forward to it. However, I will finish that thought in a second here. But I will get to it, I promise you. I'm so sorry it hasn't come up just yet. I know there's a couple of subs who have been begging me to do my settlement video so they can see how I do it. So they can see if they can do it the same way or whatever. And it is in the works, it's just taking me a little bit of time. More than I thought I would. Mostly collecting everything because I don't use mods and I do not use console commands when I'm doing this. So we are almost at Greentop Nursery. These quests, when they send you out, these settlers are calling for aid. They're what unlock specific settlements for you, and that is a Stingwing. I hate these bastards. On survival, it's good to see them because they drop Stingwing meat, and that is one of the best things that you can have. It's a great healing item, a great buff item as you're going through survival. But on normal mode, where you're not really dealing with them as well, well, I don't really need the Stingwing fillets or whatever. But it's a good note. Keep it in mind. Stingwing meat is good for you on survival, and they're generally rare little bastards. But when you find them, it's always good to make sure you take their meat and cook it. So we're arriving at Greentop here. We gotta find the settler in this place that wants our help. Looks like they are inside. And there's Mechanical Menace. That is the start of the Automatron DLC. Normally I don't plug DLC, but it is definitely worth it. I really enjoyed it. It's worth the money you're gonna pay for it. Go ahead, guys. It's definitely worth your money. So let's find out what's going on.
Yes, I'm here to help. What's going on?
There's a group of raiders that won't leave us alone. stealing our food and supplies, threatening us if we can't give them what they want. We know where they're coming from, but we can't stand up to them ourselves.
Don't worry, we'll take care of it.
I'll take care of those raiders for you.
I hope so. We didn't know
I swear, guys, I'm not recording this over and trying to make it so that my emotions, my words, match up with the NPCs in the game. It's just a happy coincidence. And you'll notice on the radial map that we are passing by a lot of things. We are level 15, so maybe we should go in and upgrade our stats. So, while I was talking about the settlement stuff, we're in here, I might as well point out the ones that you're going to need for settlement building. I will cover these more in-depth when I get to the settlement video. You're going to need cap collector. You're going to need medic. The biggest one is you are going to need local leader. This is the big one, especially getting it to rank 2. You are going to need this. It is vital if you're building up your settlements. It's incredibly helpful in survival. This is the big guy, though. Everything else that comes through, you can take it or leave it. Medic helps. It lets you build certain vendors, i.e. doctors' offices. Big sale is necessary for those as well. But without local leader, you can't do much. And we're actually going to take it right now so we can start setting up supply lines, which we are going to be doing over the course of this. Of course, my OCD to grab everything possible. And we just ran into a pack of feral dogs. Where is our dog v dog brutalist, otherwise known as dog meat? Piper, a little bit of help shooting these things would be mucho appreciated. We are out of shotgun ammo. Wow, I cannot shoot to save my life today. Quite literally, in fact. So we're just going to let Vault Tech assisted targeting system do us a favor. Deal with a couple of these wild mongrels. Of course, pick up their meat. Been playing way too much survival mode, where every scrap of meat, regardless of what it comes from, is important when you get to keeping yourself fed out in the wastes. So that was fun. And we are still headed towards Dunwich Borers. Gotta be careful though. The northwest corner of the map is generally your low-level areas. As you go east and south, and especially southwest, you end up finding a lot of more indestructible enemies? That's not the word. Now this is another settlement that you can eventually get your hands on. But for right now, our focus lies entirely over in Dunwich Borers. So we are going to try and get our butts over there. Be warned that along this bridge, a lot of the time, a Deathclaw will spawn. So just be careful out there, guys. It is the post-apocalypse and the wasteland. I'm just going to make doubly sure that I don't see no big, scaly, clawy, bitey, gory monster. That's the description I'm going to go with for Deathclaws. Because they scare me. Well, not entirely. In the Glowing Sea, they scare the crap out of me. But we're not going to the Glowing Sea today, because the Glowing Sea scares me. So we've got to clear out Dunwich Borers. And these are all skull level enemies to us, which means they are incredibly tough. We're going to have to be very careful as we work our way through here. And that raider is in a full suit of power armor. So we might be fighting our way down here very slowly. and I was just shooting Piper. I'm a genius. This could be a challenge. Well, since no one else is coming up here, as I say that, whew, so we may just make it into Dunwich Borers today, we may not actually get through it. There are a lot of little red crosshairs popping up. So let's see what we can do to thin out the herd a little bit. I know you're just sitting there shooting at me. It'd be nice if you'd stop dropping to your knees all the time. As you guys can tell, this is one of the more populated areas of the game. Of course, they started getting smart and using grenades on me. Alright, that's at least 2 of them down. We're making progress, however slow. That Raider veteran is going to be a bit of a pain. Of course, Piper's back up now. There's another one down. I have no qualms about shooting you in the foot to win. I have a lot left in me, to be honest. Another one down. Did some damage to that veteran. She's down. A guy in the power armor who somehow was sneaky enough to vanish is worrying me now.
Hear that? Is that you?
Mr. I have a pink helmet. Decided to run around the corner like an idiot.
Hope you made your peace.
The joys of going to a place that you know you're not a high enough level for just yet. And that would be a hand grenade. Man, these guys are really holding on to the top of this place. I would love to be able to get into a situation where I could just start dealing with the guy in power armor. And that would be a turret. Turret that's hitting us with flams. And that brings back the late, great George Carlin's quote. There's flammable, non-inflammable, and inflammable. Why are there 3? I mean, it either flams or it doesn't. And I completely butchered that quote, but you guys have probably come to expect that from me right now. What is with all these guys and having at least 2 frag grenades? It is going to take us a while to get down there. Here's another one down. Of course, we will take as much as we can to make our job that much easier. Piper's going to get back up. I believe that's the guy with the power armor. Let's lip bounce a grenade down to him. Now, you saw on there that there was an extra targeting option, and that was the fusion core. You can shoot the fusion core if you can get behind them or knock its armor and everything loose. If you hit the fusion core, it essentially sets off the nuclear explosion that the fusion core is holding back. Like a giant nuclear battery. Why won't you just die already? Alright, he's down. Now I know there's some turrets down there. We just gotta find them. Not with a pistol. A Mark 5 machine gun turrets. That is one little graphical glitch I don't like within the Fallout 4 universe. The edge of cliffs can be a bit of a pain. But slow and steady wins the race. Except for when we get hit by flaming bullets. Now, I don't know where the last one is, but apparently it is right there. And that would be another raider. Hopefully our rifle finished reloading. Well, that's a long time to wave goodbye. Alright, so let's keep pushing on, see what we can see. Of course, we'll grab everything that we can. I don't really want to go all the way down and then all the way back up for that power armor. There's a staircase over there that we should be able to take down. Let's see what the guy in power armor was using. I think he had a pistol. And he's using the Raider power armor. It's pretty much the worst power armor in the game. Even the Mark II is comparatively weak when you look at T45, especially when you get up to like T45D. With each one of the individual pieces, you can upgrade the mark of the armor. Kind of lost my train of thought because my computer's top panel is buzzing right now because it's a little loose. So as you increase the mark of the armor, its stats do go up. Thing is even Raider armor, when it's maxed out, doesn't give you the same benefit as T45 does at the lower marks. Use it if you have to, or if you really like the aesthetic. But otherwise, stick to the T-model power armors. So we're going to head on into Dunwich Borers. Definitely got to be careful down here. Ooh, look, a tripwire. So guys, I didn't set off a trap. Well, that's got to be a first and only. There's a Mark III machine gun down there.
What was that?
And it revealed a couple of raiders. Can knock him down fairly easy. Nothing compared to up top. Not really sure where this goes. Let's use the button, bring it down to us, and see. Of course, Piper's going to stay down there. There's one thing I have noticed is that your companions don't like to get on lifts. Okay, so that is probably the way out. This fall shouldn't hurt us too much. So I'm guessing that's the way we get out of here when we finally cleared the entire place.
What was that? Blue, we're not alone.
Of course, I can't shoot out those lights. It'd be nice if I could. They can be a bit blinding at times. We're going to go nice and careful. might be a slightly longer episode to make up for the fact that I promised an extra episode and didn't get to do it. This whole real life thing, it's not so much fun. There's a glow-sighted like combat rifle. We can strip the glow sights off of it. I don't know if we're necessarily going to use them, because I think we just have stock sights on. Or the first upgrade that isn't actually that important. It's pretty well lit in here. And that would be a trap that I set off. There's a cell.
Like, maybe next time you're in my house, I need to keep an eye on you good.
The characterization of people like Piper is awesome.
What the?
On the bright side, the light does give you something general to shoot at, even if you cannot see the person that you're shooting.
Hey, something's out there.
Yeah, that something happens to be a skull level enemy, but that grenade hit it. I don't know when I suddenly got decent with grenades, but apparently I got semi-okay with grenades. Well, at this rate we might level up again. Woo! Almost got a little turned around there. Where are you? Alright, so he's down. That should drop us out of combat. Ooh, some more corn. Always wise to find corn. As I've said a lot of times, it leads to adhesive. The reason I get stuck on that, guys, is because I always run out of adhesive. And I would like to see your guys' playthroughs go a little bit more smoothly than mine does. Or mine do, because I have several playthroughs on the go right now. Lucky for you, you don't have to put up with me more than a few times a week. But I always find I run out of adhesive and other small things. So when I point it out, it's because I've probably run out of it at a key time. Like when you get a brilliant and awesome brand new weapon and you can't put decent sights or anything on it because you have no adhesive. We are in caution. We just killed that guy from long range. This guy's apparently below us. We heard the shot. Oh, it drops down. That would explain it.
That was a hell of a first step.
Oh, right. I know this place. I've only been through here once.
Hear that? Is that you?
Of course, I paused mid-sentence because all of a sudden I have to focus on shooting at someone. Not shooting at them very well, mind you. There's a big story about Dunwich borers. That was a little weird. We're just gonna quick save, just in case. That might have been part of the event that happens in this place. It's a creepy, haunted mine, and there's a bunch of references and stuff in here.
Blue, we're not alone.
Where is he? Can't see him yet. Dunwich Borers is actually a really cool place to come if you enjoy that sort of stuff, especially references to earlier Fallout games. I would spend more time on it, but we do not have time in this episode to actually deal with it. So we're going to kill Bedlam. Can you kill Bedlam? Well, we're going to find out. But yeah, Dunwich Borers does have a rich backstory. There's other people who have gone through it far better than I have. I'm just doing it for the Minuteman quest. Get that done. Get it sorted out. Let's go see what Bedlam had on him or her. Looks like a her. Let's take the armor. Yes, it was a her. We're going to drop that armor, though, because we do not need it. There it is. So let's see if we can find the shortcut back to the surface. Ooh, astoundingly awesome tails. I take 5% less damage from robots. I didn't actually know that was down here. That would have helped so much with the Automatron DLC. Because pretty much all you fight in that is robots. And a very particular kind of raider who sucks. But we'll go through this chain door. See if we can find the way back up. And that would be a legendary feral ghoul. Whoa, whoa, whoa! And good practice with ghouls, guys. Go for the legs. Because this happens. And now, even though he's mutated and is incredibly tough, he cannot do anything but slowly crawl towards us. And a very, 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 very rare... or, not rare. I don't want to say the word that I'm thinking, but I'm thinking of a bad word to describe the quality of that particular weapon. We're seeing flashbacks from the past. Fish in a barrel comes to mind. I don't know if percussive force is the right thing, or liquid force. I don't know. Shooting fish in a barrel is actually an apt reference when you're talking about a lot of these things. Because you don't even have to hit what you're shooting at. Shockwaves sent out by the passage of your bullet or whatever will end up dealing fatal damage. So this could be a slightly longer episode, guys. I know we're already pushing the time limit, but we're going to finish this. Because we're down here anyway. We've already completed the Dunwich Borer's main part. But I don't want to leave this half done and just cut out in the middle of what could be another good situation. So we're going to finish all the way to the end. Even though it's tripping me out, man. Cults and sacrifices. Now if you read the computer terminals along the way here, hopefully I don't die, it will explain this guy, everything about the overseers for the different stations, how the cult was forming. This is actually one of the overseers, and there's a bunch of ghouls coming after us, and they're radioactive. So we're going to do a little kitey trick. Bad time to run out of ammunition. But these were all of the overseers that were brought down here for some nefarious purpose. I do suggest you go through, read the terminal entries and everything for that. It's an interesting little story. Takes you down here, and at the bottom down there, there is an altar. The altar they were all standing on, getting ready to sacrifice people. But we're going to find our way out of here because I was trying to do parts of the Minutemen playthrough. That is the thing when you do choose to go with the Minutemen. Eventually you are going to find that you end up doing a lot of the side quests for Preston Garvey, which brings into focus, a lot of the reason many people dislike Mr. Garvey, because he always has some new hotspot or some new trouble that needs to be solved, and apparently you're the only person on the wasteland that can do it. But for now, we are just going to get out of here. That, Piper, is to get us more nuclear material. You did ask what it's for. Nuclear material is a lot of fun to gather up. If you're using plasma weaponry, then congratulations. You don't have to worry about nuclear material ever. When you strike down someone and they turn into a pile of goo, they end up leaving behind nuclear material. If you see a bunch of super mutant suiciders, make sure to go for their right arm that's football carrying a mini nuke. If you can set it off, they end up dropping nuclear material as well, which is generally helpful. I mean, nuclear material is used in a lot of things. Good to have a decent stockpile, I want to say, of it lying around. Man, how far down the rabbit hole did we actually go? There we go. So we're going to go back up to the Commonwealth. We'll turn this quest in, both to the people at the nursery, and then to Mr. Garvey himself. So nice to be able to go back and actually fast travel. So one thing you miss about survival mode, the ability to fast travel. You do get vertibird grenades that allow you to do it that way, but they're expensive and rare. Alright, so let's wake this guy up.
I took care of those raiders for you.
And he will get up before he answers us. But this will give us access to the nursery as a settlement. And when we start collecting people at Starlight Drive-In, we're going to use that as our star pattern. We'll send a provisioner here, and that will allow us to use all of our stuff at both Sanctuary and all the other places we connect at any other one.
Only way things will get better is if we stand together.
Now, since we're going to be fast traveling in Sanctuary, it's worth pointing out, we don't have supply lines yet, but if we connected, say, Starlight Drive-In to Sanctuary, and then Sanctuary to the Red Rocket truck stop, Red Rocket will be able to use everything that's in the Starlight Drive-In's workshop. So, as long as a couple are connected, it doesn't really matter. It does help you spread your provisions out. I prefer, honestly, to use the star pattern, because then all of your provisioners are in one place. It's a settlement that you don't have to worry about as much. You can kind of just write it off. And again, the Starlight Drive-In works great for it. You're capped on the amount of settlers you have based on your charisma and certain other factors. But with the Automatron DLC, there's a way around that. There's a bunch of cool stuff, but I'll get into that more in the settlement video. Before we go, I'm going to go in here. And we are looking pretty good on most things. I would be really, really, really tempted to grab Local Leader Rank 2. Just so we can build workstations at each one of our settlements. For right now, though, we do have access to the Armorer perk. So we're going to take that. We're going to be upgrading our armor a little bit here. Let's go to Sanctuary and see what Mr. Garvey's up to. Pick up another quest from him, probably.
Stay sharp. Don't let your guard down.
I took care of the raiders that were harassing that settlement you sent me to. The people there have decided to join our cause.
That's great news. One day, we'll be strong enough to drive that scum out of the Commonwealth for good. As usual, I've got something else for you to look into.
That's how pretty much every conversation goes with Preston after you've started this chain. As usual, I've got something else for you to do.
I have a solution. I think it's time to retake the castle. It used to be the Minutemen HQ, way before my time. Well fortified, centrally located, and most important, it has a powerful radio transmitter we can use to broadcast to the whole Commonwealth.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a really good place to set up shop.
It sounds like just what we need right now.
I thought you'd like the idea. So, should I have an assault force assemble near the castle?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do this.
We'll do some recon and meet you outside the castle. See you there.
Alright, so this is a big piece of the Minutemen storyline. The castle is, well, much to the dismay of Mr. Garvey, is not centrally located. It is way off on the eastern side of the map. And there's a big thing that we have to do to get through this entire quest. But we're going to save that for next time. So guys, if you did like the video, please consider hitting that like button. If you're new to the channel or would like to join up with the 232, our own little community, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you do, make sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss when a new video comes up. And remember guys, life is a game, so play to win. Until next time, take care.